What is religion? Religion is tradition usually passed down from parents to children, but often people find it on their own. It can be based on what geographical location or family history. Although it cannot be proven, religion in general cannot be disproven. This leads many of the followers to follow their choice of text and disregard any scientific evidence that may partially disprove their beliefs. Most of our daily lives are impacted directly by religion, in many different ways, from Ramadan to the current date. Easter coincides with the pagan celebration of Esther, the goddess of fertility, and the death of Jesus Christ. Many Christian celebrations have been moved throughout history to coincide with pagan celebrations, to nullify them. I'm also autistic and I grew up Jewish. We were largely observant of the customs. Judaism is an ethno-religion, which makes me think about Jewish people more than Jewish faith when the topic of Judaism comes up. The concept of God is difficult to grasp, and the only way it works is with an axiom that says that the mind is not the same as a physical brain. With that said, I think of God as a thinking machine or mind that thinks about itself, and through that process of metathinking things are supposed to happen. I don't know how, because God is supposed to be everything. It's difficult for me to understand myself, which is also the reason why I'm not religious nowadays, but when I was younger, that's how I made sense of the concept of God. Many religious sects are of the belief that those with intellectual learning disabilities, such as autism, will go to hell, or whatever their religion's version of hell is, just for their disability. I personally would not want to be friends with someone who thinks I'm going to hell just for the body I was born into. Religion, in attempt to grasp what's out there, pattern from the past which give us clues about greater meaning. It endures because we don't understand everything yet, and is the belief that other forces influence us. As a former atheist, and now religious person, I just see non-religious people as those who haven't met the other yet. But they will. Never assume you understand everything. Something will happen eventually which will shift your entire perception of reality. I'm not autistic, and at 47 I'm still trying to understand what religion is. I've been reading a little history of philosophy by Nigel Warburton and learned of a new concept, ichtheism. The philosopher Alfred Jules Ayer argued that the statement God exists was literally meaningless, because it is not true by definition, and there isn't a test that can prove it. Ayer was an ichtheist, that special category of people who think all that talk of God existing or not existing is complete nonsense. My point is, it is commendable to want to learn about religion. The pursuit of knowledge is always valuable, but you don't have to get it. Just research on your own and remember to take it one step at a time. Does God exist? If he does he love his creations? Would I like a monotheistic God or a pantheon? Is God all-powerful? Does he die or marry human beings? Can God become a man and die? Is this God a local God or a supreme deity? And so many different questions that you're entitled to asking. Remember, if the religion doesn't answer your questions about God, that means they don't know or want to hide it from you. And I don't want to worship a God that doesn't love me or doesn't care about me. I am a heathen. That means that I mainly worship the gods of the Germanic peoples. Think of gods like Odin and Thor. Those are among the gods I mainly worship. My religion has multiple names like Asatru or Norse paganism. I came into this from atheism. For me it was mostly a cultural thing. I am a descendant of the Germanic peoples and have always been drawn to the Germanic cultures in one way or another. Heathenry is a contemporary religious movement seeking to reconstruct parts of the ancient Germanic pagan ways that were lost within modern conceptions and standards. What began for me as a cultural interest eventually led me to the sense of the divine within the universe. The only clear and cut way that I can describe it is that I felt more than I was originally looking for. Exploring those feelings allows me to come into contact with the divine. That is the most basic way to describe it, really, just a lot of exploration of feelings. Now there is a whole lot more to heathenry, or even paganism in general, than just that, of course. But that is the most clear and cut way I can describe here now. I am a Muslim. I like to think that a God has to exist because of the way universe functions, with so many rules. Concepts ECT existing and functioning together looks like something's designed to me. And to me the Abrahamic, specifically Islamic, God sounds more realistic than others. When I observe the universe, history and human relationships, it just feels like everything clicks. Of course, things as the human body and mind have flaws, but I believe all of that works into some sort of grand design. Faith is a subjective thing. God might as well not exist, it doesn't affect me if he doesn't. And believing in him brings me comfort, so I choose to believe. Ever heard of Pascal's wager? Look it up. I believe in God because I think it benefits my life and a potential afterlife more than not believing in one. I'm assuming your friend who worries about you going to hell is Christian? Some Christians believe that unless you believe in God Jesus and ask him to forgive your sins, then you are going to hell, even if you're a good person. Your belief in him saves you from hell. It's a pretty messed up system. The most simple way to explain it is that they believe in their religion because they were told to believe in it. Because they kept doing that, it becomes a habit and they become more convinced it is true as they grow up. Religion is a method to subdue people. It is a way to gain and stay in power using fear and rewards. Humans cannot comprehend the term death. Since life wants to stay in the state of life, it doesn't want to die. To cope with this, they make imaginary lands where one would go to after life ends. Religion is made up by humans to use this fear of death to control the meek. Their leaders brainwash the people to do their bidding in name of their religion, because if they don't, they will face the wrath of the deity of choice. I am a Universalist Christian. We believe everyone will eventually be saved through Jesus' work on the cross, and eventually all will be reconciled to God and have good afterlife. This belief brings me much peace, and I love God all the more for it. Religion was meant for a community such that people would have a common belief towards good, to do good and not harm others. The idea is that when you harm others, you are also harming yourself, because it goes against morality. To follow good, you need a power that is greater than you. In the old days, there are slaves and king. With that much power, religion seeks to humble these kings. It is true that if a king and ministry does not follow good, they eventually gets overthrown. I agree with you. Just because people believe in something does not make it true. Kids believe in Father Christmas, but it's not right. When seen in a scientific perspective, religion is humanity's try to answer the unanswerable. That's why most ancient religions have gods tied to natural occurrences they couldn't explain at the time, like lightning, the sun and moon, etc. The religions that have survived until today are often about some form of afterlife or giving your life a greater meaning, answering the question of why do we exist, which science cannot really answer. This gives a lot of people stability, hope and power in their lives, which is the logical reason for many to believe. That said, it is also a lot of just feeling right about it and tradition for many. Furthermore, they can include some rules about life in a society, giving everyone a moral compass and basic rules to live by. Religion is a story that helps people who follow it understand and make sense of the world. And people do need their stories, even if those stories are not provable or are even false. Religion is man-made ideology that is used to explain natural phenomenon and provide a guidance of morals. As you are already well aware, our brains are constructed differently. When it comes to religion, this is also true. Some people's brains can accept religion and some people's can't, and it's okay to be either kind. For people who do not accept the construct of religion, we can still be good people by being humanists, scientists, and more. It absolutely does not depend on you believing what anyone else does. I hope you like to read or listen to audiobooks, because I have two that you really should listen to. The Age of Reason by Thomas Paine, and it is free online. He was a US founding father. He explains that the word revelation means something appealed to just one person. And a revelation can't be exchanged with or forced upon someone else. You can't even accept someone else's revelation as your own. A revelation must by definition be personal. You have to have seen or heard the deity yourself. The other book is called The God Delusion, written by scientist Richard Dawkins. I think that book can go a long way in answering your original question.